Welcome to the Worst Talk Show. I'm your excellent co-host, Angie C.
Most excellent.
That is handsome boyfriend Dave.
Hi.
And we are welcoming you to episode, is it 24?
Are we supposed to keep track of this?
People, we have done 24 episodes.
Oh.
How did that even happen? Thank you, pandemic. Welcome for anybody that might be new. We just want to let you know that, we're not professionals. Well, we kind of are in a way. Semi-professional. But what we do is we like to talk about things that we watch, things that we listen to, and things that we cook and eat so that you guys can have ideas, because everybody is looking for recommendations because we're all just staying in the house right now.
And nobody really buys TV Guide anymore, do they?
I don't even know if is that actually still a thing?
Listen.
Shout out to Ken Reed and the TV Guidance podcast.
That's right.
Hey, Holly Cantor. First one on the scene tonight. Michael Maloney, Bob Tarasi, and Holly are first on the scene tonight.
Hi, guys.
Hello and welcome. We've got a action-packed show for you this evening.
Wow.
So many things to talk about. Not all of them pleasant, but we will do our best. Also, Dave loved Elf so much that he now has some Elf merchandise.
I know him.
See Santa. I know him. Hey, Casey Riddles is here as well. We were just talking about the fact that when we set everything up and I write the description right before we hit the live. Hey, Joey Chang. Right before we hit live to go live, it's that moment where we're waiting for it to count down, and it reminds me of the last scene in Say Anything when John Cusack
wait for the ding.
Ione Skye are waiting for the ding.
Wait for the ding.
So that the seatbelt sign goes off.
Right.
Every time.
Because
that's
most accidents happen within a couple minutes of taking off and a couple minutes of landing. Right. Within a couple minutes of landing.
Anyway, shout out to that film as well.
Yes.
One of the greatest.
Lovely.
Greatest of all time. Like I said, lots to get to. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk Bee Gees. And yes, there was a time in my life where I would laugh at people.
You wouldn't laugh at Vicky Salapande, would you?
No,
she's
hey,
here,
Vicky.
and that wouldn't be nice.
My good pal Goldberg was very always ensconced in 70s at all times. And in the 90s, I didn't want to hear about the 70s. I really didn't. And of course, she would always be talking about the BJs, and I would be like, please stop. The
BJs?
But we grew up, our particular generation grew up with the Bee Gees.
Our generation, yes.
Saturday Night Fever was so overplayed and worn out of my house that there was a ring like through the album cover.
I pretty much knew that whole album.
Hey, Mark Reeves.
I used to perform it in my living room.
I love that. I so
every weekend.
wish I could have seen you with the hair. Was it a hairbrush?
No, because I was dancing, so there was.
But you were also singing along. I know you were.
Well, probably.
Yeah, and you are an excellent dancer. So the Bee Gees documentary, which premiered Saturday night at 8 o'clock on HBO Max. Hey, Susan. Just a phenomenal documentary. We will talk about it soon. But we've got some other movies and TV shows to get through first.
More stuff to talk about. Yeah,
just it's been a sort of an action-packed week, I'd say.
But
we'll even talk about this week's Saturday Night Live, one of the best I've seen.
I missed it.
So well written, I can't even. And we will also, talk about a lot of local music stuff that's happening this weekend. There's some releases. There's some holiday mess-around parties that you can attend virtually. So we have an action-packed show for you. Vicky says, I'd never laugh at anyone. Aw, we love you, Vicky.
Cut it out. Stop kissing butt, Vicky.
So we wanted to get started with a couple movies that we sort of selected randomly this weekend. And the really funny thing is that they were shot in Boston and in Marblehead.
Yeah.
Now, we're coming to you live from Marblehead now.
Both of them had scenes in Charlestown.
Right.
And in Marblehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was there was a synchronicity to the whole weekend. Really.
And we had no idea.
Not at all. Actually, Kendall and I were looking for something to just sort of mommy-daughter on the couch. I think it was Saturday morning. And we went on Disney, and she said, how about godmothering? Hey, Sean O'Brien. So godmothering is like, the school for fairy godmothers. And basically it's Elf, but not as good. And with a female comedian as opposed to Will Ferrell.
Jillian.
I can't even remember her name. She's funny. She's like the poor man's Amy. What's her face? Right now.
Really?
Yeah, she's
Schumer.
She's no Amy Schumer. But anyway, it was very cute. But one of the best parts about it was that it's almost entirely filmed either in Boston or in Old Town Marblehead, which makes our little town look so quaint. Although they put a mountain in our town.
Yeah, I was like, wow, there's a mountain there, dude. Yeah, oh my goodness. The amazing technology involved, yes.
So we watched that, and then we watched Ava. So Ava is yet another sexy gal gun for hire assassination,
Jessica Chastain
movie.
stars in the title role as an ex.
Well, no, she's not ex. She's current. She's a hitman.
Yeah.
And she's working with...
But she's a recovered alcoholic.
Yes, and her coach / mentor
her
handler is John Malkovich. So we're like, okay, we like Jessica, we like Malkovich. This looks good. Let's look for, something that's got some action in it. Common shows up as the ex-fiance.
Right.
I was like,
and who happens to be her sister's new fiance.
Yeah, but let's not give too much away.
Oh, it's scandalous.
It's scandalous. Anyway,
I love Joan Chen in it.
Yeah, Joan Chen was great.
And Colin Farrell's in it.
Yes, Colin Farrell not being too... Well, no, he's douchey.
Well, he's the head honcho.
Kind of what he knows these days. Shot in Boston, all over Boston, and then she goes to an AA meeting, and I'm like...
I recognize that room.
Is that the Gary 5? And of course, whatever Gary is sort of like Marblehead's VFW or whatever.
It might be the firefighters. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we've gone to banquets there. We've gone to live shows there.
But it's a very distinct looking room.
Yeah, you sort of can't mistake it. So it was just sort of funny, and there was a weird synergy going on this weekend between watching things and then recognizing our places in it, which is something normally that happens every day when you live in LA, but not so much here. Jim Pericotti's here. What? Did I just steal your thunder?
I'm so used to it.
By saying
you've stolen so much of my you've stolen so much of my thunder by now. It's just your thunder, and I borrow it every now.
Oh, really? Is that what you think? Let me give you some of your thunder back, Dave. The floor is yours.
Thunder back, ho!
Kendall and I also watched Prom, which I didn't even realize was just based on the Broadway musical Prom, and Kendall called me an idiot for not knowing that. But I mean, Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman.
Did I ever ask Anthony Paglia this? Is it Paglia or Paglia?
I would think it's Paglia, but Anthony, you let us know whether it's Paglia or Paglia. By the way, Paul Natal, is it Natal or Natale? I'm going to be referencing him a little bit later. From Murray Hill Talent. If anybody knows how to pronounce that, please let me know. It's important. Hey, Francis. Drive-by Pies is in the house.
You're the apple of my pie.
So the movie Prom is a delightful little Broadway romp. I mean, it dies a slow death in the ending, really.
Wait a minute. You said that Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman are in it?
And James Corden and Keegan-Michael Key. Yeah. And they're all singing and they're all hilarious. Unfortunately... The rest of the plot is, they're trying to just be super LGBTQ friendly.
I didn't watch it.
However, as my daughter pointed out to me, my very woke daughter, I might add, it sort of caters a little too much to the straights by the end, and it definitely got bogged down a little. And Tracy Ullman shows up, and you're like, oh my God, it's Tracy Ullman. But the numbers in, I would say, the first half of the movie are definitely worth the watch.
And then shut it off.
And then, maybe shut it off.
So you're not disappointed. Yeah. Kyle Smoleniak's here.
Hey, Kyle. We've got the Las Vegas contingent
watching from the
in
desert.
The house. Probably watching from work, by the way. He tends to do that. So, speaking of Meryl Streep, there's a new Meryl Streep movie. Hey, John.
Likes it rough.
On, that's his last name.
No, his middle name is Likes It.
Oh, nice. Charming. This is why I steal his thunder. So Meryl Streep is in a movie that I'd never heard of that just showed up on HBO Max this weekend.
You should take their advice. What's the name of the thing? Let Them Talk?
Yes, it's called Let Them Talk.
You should take their advice.
Who's the captain of the ship, Dave?
Listen, I'm too busy pumping out the bilge. I don't have time.
Pumping up the bilge?
Hooper drives the boat, Chief.
Oh, fine. So I decided to watch it. It's a Steven Soderbergh, Meryl Streep, Diane Wiest, and Candice Bergen.
So there's nobody in it.
How could you possibly go wrong with that? It's wrongly advertised like a rom-com on a cruise.
I'd love to be like the personal assistant on that set for those lovely ladies.
Diane Gale wants to know if we watch Big Mouth. I know we should, but we haven't yet.
I've watched part here and there.
Is it animated?
Yes.
This is why I have this weird thing with animated stuff. I don't normally like to watch it. I know I'm terrible. I mean, Bob's Burgers. I know,
Yeah, it just has to do with a kid and his. There's like the horn monster or the horny monster. Like it's his
alter ego.
Well, he's becoming a man.
Okay.
So he's going through puberty. So it's horny all the time.
Okay, we have enough of that in this house. I'm not sure I'm ready to watch that
on
television.
But the girl version of that character is Maya Rudolph does the voice for it.
Very nice.
Pretty sexy.
So for you, I will check it out, but I'm not usually a fan of the animated stuff. You'll laugh at Big Mouth like you wouldn't believe. You're
right. We won't believe
Big Mouth. Okay, fine. So getting back to the Meryl Streep, Diane Wiest, Candice Bergen tour de force that is this Soderbergh movie, it's very slow. Very slow. And, first you think it's slow like, most European movies where eventually it'll get to the meat and potatoes and it'll be great. This not so much.
There's no there.
I mean, Meryl Streep is playing a pretentious writer who doesn't like to fly and gets booked on the Queen Mary 2 to go accept an award, and she somehow finagles passes for her nephew and her two BFFs that they haven't seen each other in 30 years. So you think it's going to be like something it's not. It was interesting. What I like to call it is a Sunday afternoon, nothing better to watch movie.
Ooh.
So there you
that's
go.
That's a rousing endorsement.
Lewis Warren is watching. Hello. Jim Pericotti, I'm having meat and potatoes for dinner. Well, congratulations, Jim.
Is that code for something?
I hope not. So what else did we watch? I'm trying to think. There was a lot. Oh, so in talking about the Bee Gees documentary, which we will get to, we were on a disco trip, if you will.
A little bit,
And then I brought up, do you remember the movie Thank God It's Friday? It was sort of the coming out movie for Donna Summer.
But it was kind of also a ripoff of, they were capitalizing on Saturday Night Fever.
Absolutely.
So this was,
I think it came out
Thank
a
God
year
It's
later.
Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not, did Saturday Night Fever come out in 77? And this came out in 78.
And then a couple years later, What a Great Thursday came out.
That's nice, cute. Oh my goodness.
They had like C-list celebrities on that one.
Diane Gale, I love that movie. I knew you did. So I was at a particular age, and that movie was on, I want to say the Star Channel, which turned into the Movie Channel, like every 5 minutes. I watched it nonstop, and we decided for bleeps and giggles that we would watch it.
I had never watched it all. Like I caught it here and there. I knew that Donna Summer was in it.
Yep. And
so I was willing to watch.
Jeff Goldblum.
As a sleazy dude.
Sleazy
with such a sweet Porsche.
Yeah. And Deborah Winger. And the Commodores when Lionel Richie was still in the Commodores.
Wait a minute. And
Terry Nunn.
Terry Nunn from
Berlin.
Yes, the lead singer from Berlin is in it. She's like 15 years old, it seems like. Oh my God,
she's so young.
Yeah.
And in like a tube top.
And she hadn't discovered dentists.
It's very 70s. Lewis Warren, it was terrible. It was more of a comedy.
My favorite character? the leather guy. Everybody,
oh
you know,
my
like,
god, the leather guy was hilarious.
Like dances everything. Everything else is bull.
He was almost like a Freddie Prinze Jr. kind of a you know, character in a way. He was
more
just
like Freddie
lovely.
Prinze, right?
Freddie Prinze, sorry. Lewis says, wasn't there a cameo from the guy from Car 54? If there was, I wouldn't know because I never watched Car 54. Did you know that? Oh, but here's the best part. There's a few funny things I've forgotten all about.
How about
we're going to talk about Floyd. So the first thing is that the Commodores show up to do a live broadcast and promote the dance contest that's going on. And it really all hinges on the DJ that signed it all up, and they're late and he's freaking out.
Bobby Speed, I think is his name.
They finally show up and they're like, oh, by the way, we don't have our equipment. We can't play until our roadie gets here. It's Floyd.
Oh my God.
So Floyd is Otis Knight.
From Animal House. Otis, my man.
Otis Knight. So he's driving from San Francisco to LA and
with a van full of musical instruments.
All the equipment, and he keeps getting pulled over by the cops.
Yeah, he's going fast trying to get there.
Every time
he gets pulled over. And so the cop doesn't believe
no, of course they don't
that he's, you know, a roadie for the Commodores.
Even the black cop racial profile
gave him a hard time. And he's like, no, man, you know, like, I don't know.
You stole all
So
this.
he goes, wait. So the first thing he pulls out is the saxophone.
Yes.
And he's wailing on the saxophone. Like, really good.
And the cop's still not convinced.
No, man, no. He makes him take all the instruments out one at a time. And he has to play all the instruments.
And meanwhile, the DJ is broadcasting live, so he keeps giving Floyd messages. This one goes out to my buddy Floyd, who better get here. Yeah. And every time that happened, he'd start speeding again. A cop would pull him over again, and then he'd immediately take out all the instruments. Right. Completely forgot about that little side story.
And before long,
hilarious.
he gets pulled over, and they show him. He doesn't even wait for the cop to say anything.
He just immediately
he just goes and starts pulling instruments out.
So there are some brilliantly funny little movies.
Yeah.
There's a gag about Jeff Goldblum's Porsche, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But the Commodores finally get to play the song, and it's Too Hot to Trot, and it's just like, mwah. It's such a good
pretty
song.
Awesome.
And that just got us like totally pumped. And we've been listening to disco music for like 4 or 5 days.
I just don't want to. You know, I guess we're not going to mention
Bob Tarasi, I think I saw Thank God It's Friday at the cinema when it came out. Oh, damn, Bob! Hey, Irene Davis! So if you can, I think it's free on like YouTube. I forget what we watched.
Certainly don't pay to watch it. No.
We watched it on Prime. It's fun to see Deborah Winger, who's like, I don't know, maybe 20.
Yeah, she's super young.
Just super young.
Yeah.
The music is fun, and it's just silly. And the girl who played Doris in the TV show version of Fame is Terry Nunn's little dancing partner. So that was a fun little thing. Casey Riddles.
She's the best dancer at
whatever school they're
whatever
at.
high school they're at, Polk High or whatever.
As opposed to what's her face from Greece, the best dancer at St. Bernadette's with the worst reputation. Casey Riddles, that hat, Dave. I think the kids say it's fire or 100%, but I'm gonna go with rad.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate that.
Santa, I know him.
He's waving to you.
So
he's waving to you.
That kind of brings us really to
wait, no.
Oh no, we do have to talk about a couple more things.
Titans?
And then we'll get to Bee Gees, I promise. It's gonna be Bee Gees, Bee Gees, Bee Gees.
Yeah, I mean, somehow it got our you know, the Franks and the Beans got twisted. So we started watching.
No, we got to talk about Saturday Night Live first.
Well, I didn't watch it, so I'll be over here.
Okay, so I didn't want to watch Saturday Night Live because Timothée Chalamet was the host, and I was like, whatever. First of all, thought that kid was French this whole time.
You really did?
He grew up in New York.
Why did you think that?
Because the first 3 movies I saw him in, he was French with a perfect French accent.
No. Call Me by Your Name?
Yeah, and then 2 other things. Kendall loves him, so she's like, can we please watch it?
The King?
Sunday morning. I said, yeah, great. It is one of the most well-written Saturday Night Lives I've seen in a really long time. Almost every skit was a gem. and the spoof, it was called like a Very Rona Christmas, so it was coronavirus during the holidays.
A family of coronavirus.
Let me tell you something. If you
They
haven't
wore
seen
the
it
coronavirus
yet,
on their heads. Like,
Google it. It is so well written and so funny on like a bunch of different levels, and you'll pee your pants laughing. It was really, really good. He's from Brooklyn, the city of lights. Who knew? Timothy Chalamet. He was great, and I think he and Pete Davidson will definitely be doing something together.
Lord.
Like total bromance. Every scene they were in was amazing.
What is that? Yeet?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
doing like...
They go on a hip hop panel, and they're like TikTok, white hip hop artists, and they're terrible, and all they keep saying is yeet and something else, and then
Fire!
Questlove, played by Questlove, eventually gets up and knocks one of them out.
Bitch slaps one of them. Oh,
it's
my
hilarious.
goodness.
So go back and watch it if you can.
I have yet to watch the thing.
Yeah, I was
and you
really
know what was
impressed.
great is that Chalamet almost broke character. Because he just couldn't not laugh at himself.
Yeah, but that's
and
the
then
best.
he caught it,
Yeah.
and I was amazed.
When they and then one of the actors actually went on the Dionne Warwick talk show, which was also brilliant, as Timothy Chalamet. So Timothy Chalamet's like right outside the scene watching this, and she pulled off like the greatest Timothy Chalamet impersonation. So,
she did?
Yeah, it was a woman.
Wow.
It was really, really funny. So from that, we picked up Titans, which we've never seen before.
Okay, we were looking for something to watch, guys. All right? We don't have all the answers. And you know what? We don't come by all these answers just out of the ether. Okay? We have to do research. You know?
And by research, it's, hey, honey, what do you want to watch? I don't know what you want to watch.
I don't know.
Oh, let's look at this. Oh, what's this? No, that looks terrible.
Stupid.
I mean, there are definitely times where I'm like, you know what? We're not on the same page tonight.
Zombies.
I'm going upstairs. You watch what you want, and I watch what I want.
Angie won't watch anything with zombies.
No. I'm anti-zombie. Shoot me. So...
In the head, guys, because you want to come back as a zombie. You know what I mean?
So I was like, Titans, why have we never seen this?
And it was DC Comics.
Like Teen Titans, but
it's a live action show.
Yeah.
It's called Titans.
Yeah, but they know about it. It came out years ago, right?
There are a couple of seasons, right?
Yeah, but I think it came out a while ago.
But here's the thing. We didn't expect a whole lot, and maybe that's why we were impressed.
Right, because it's not PG.
It's R-rated, guys.
It's like a heavy
swearing, blood and violence.
Lots of blood and violence.
Oh man!
But so far we really like it. We're only like 4 episodes in. I'm not a huge DC fan in general.
Nah.
I mean,
The Watchmen, guys. The Watchmen.
I don't hate Aquaman
a
or
Batman
Wonder Woman,
movie here and there.
And this has Robin as one of the main characters, whose real name is Dick Grayson.
Pretty much the main character.
And I never liked Robin, like, ever. So I was very suspect, but it's very decent if you're looking for, if you're missing sort of the Marvel DC stuff.
Yeah.
Go back and watch Titans. It's not bad at all. And then you watched something, and I'm so proud of you, honey. He watched a complete foreign film.
Oh, yes.
Subtitle only.
Okay, may I? It's called Mosul. Okay?
I'm so proud.
It's in Aramaic? Or...
Isn't that isn't that what they spoke in the Bible?
Okay, it's Arab speaking. Arabic. Okay? Aramaic. Maybe not. Maybe they do. Anyway, it's an action movie, guys. Okay? It's based on a true story. And it follows this group they're called the SWAT, of all things. Like American SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics. Mm-hmm. And they are taking on ISIS in Iraq after the U.S. has pulled back.
So it's almost like... it is a foreign film, and it is
right
Middle Eastern.
Yeah,
but it's definitely taking a formula from American.
But it works.
Shoot 'em up,
and they're not afraid to kill people.
Obviously,
okay, and they're not afraid to have characters die.
Jim Pericotti just said they spoke Aramaic in Passion of the Christ 2, Electric Boogaloo, and Jim Pericotti wins.
All right, good night, everybody.
That's it. It's It's not going to get any funnier than that.
See you in 2021!
Also, Casey Riddles is calling out my like of Aquaman only for Jason Momoa.
That's
You're
true.
not wrong. Actually, Casey says he never knew what SWAT meant. Thanks for that. So,
are you being
No, I
serious?
think you're educating. I don't
great.
think you actually...
I like to help whenever I can.
I certainly didn't know that. So, without giving too much away, again, clearly this is a good movie because it was not in English in any way, and Dave was all over it.
It helps. It helps you get into it.
Yeah.
You really have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And, yeah.
And
so,
obviously it's very violent and right up,
my goodness, it's
Dave's alley,
it's very violent. Hey, guys, there are drones with bombs on them. This is a real thing.
Yeah, are you new here? That's been going on for quite some time.
No. I don't mean like drones flying along and dropping a missile or something on somebody.
Okay. What do you
This is a little drone.
But it's actually a bomb.
Could with a bomb on it. So they could fly it and blow something up.
How is that different from a drone dropping a bomb?
Because this is ISIS doing it.
Okay.
ISIS, the bad guys.
Okay. I understand
are trying to blow up the SWAT guys.
Is that new, that tech? That doesn't sound new to me.
With drones?
If you can have a drone
it's
dropping
not an
bombs,
IED.
why can't you have a drone carry a bomb?
Hey, listen. What kind of a swallow? African or European?
Once again, I'm very proud of you.
Okay, I thought you were going to say you were proud of me for watching A Streetcar Named Desire.
Yes, Dave's suddenly, after Mank and Citizen Kane last week, he's doing a deep dive into the TCM classics.
I feel I would be remiss to continue to ignore the classics.
No, I think it's important, especially now when we have a lot of time on our hands, to go back and look at where, a lot of the movies, were born out of. Sometimes when you watch a classic, you think, this seems dated, but this is where all other movies come from, So it's good to sort of re-educate yourself.
Like when a mommy daddy and a movie daddy love each other?
Yes, honey. So you watched Streetcar Named Desire?
Yes, Marlon Brando.
Vivian
Lee.
Blanche Dubois.
And it was pretty much, like, vulgar realism versus,
well, it's a Tennessee Williams
phony
play.
Yes, yeah. It was like,
Stella!
And it was just
and who's in it as a youngish man?
Carl Malden is in it, and his nose is barely 3 inches across.
He was Streets of San Francisco, right?
Right.
Yeah. And the
American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Lewis Warren says, I saw Casablanca for the first time a few years ago, and I thought it was amazing. Yeah, a lot of them really did. That's why they're classics.
I'm filling in holes. Like, I've seen a lot of great movies of the old persuasion. Mm-hmm. But I just kind of was like, I'm going to go in line, and I'm just going to watch the next one. Whatever one, had it, got it, need it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Good,
so
that's
I
awesome.
just was going to,
Maybe we could watch An Affair to Remember this weekend.
No.
Fine. Jim Pericotti, Streets of San Francisco with Michael Douglas. Yes. I mean, how many times did we have to watch that? Because it was on, wasn't it on every day at 4 or 5 o'clock before the news? A Quinn Martin production.
Hey,
nice.
right.
Jim Pericotti, you might as well just run the show now. All the best lines are yours. So that brings us to the Bee Gees documentary.
Okay.
Oh my God. First of all, you have to watch it. It's so well made. And you can't believe the catalog that these guys, never mind the songs they wrote for other people, which we'll get to as well. The catalog spans 30 years at least.
More than that.
And they're all amazing.
Well,
I mean, not all.
I started a joke.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's really nice.
It's terrible.
We listened to it tonight in mono.
He's got this trilly. That's Robin.
That's
singing,
Robin.
Right?
Robin was probably the best singer in the group.
So obviously, the big tragedy. Yes, I just hit that pun. Of the Bee Gees is that only one is left. There were 4 brothers. There was Maurice. There was Barry.
Barry was the oldest.
Barry's the only one left.
Maurice and Robin were twins.
And then came along Andy years later, Andy Gibb, who was such a heartthrob.
And they actually called Andy and Barry the twins as well.
Well, they looked the most alike, which also meant that they were the most handsome.
A lot of teeth in that family.
Yeah, Robin did not
Lots of teeth.
Did not get the good end of the DNA.
He went the way of Freddie Mercury, and he knew that if he changed his choppers, that he would lose the tone. Maybe he was nervous about that.
I don't know. You kind of just made that up, though. I think
totally makes sense.
It does make sense. So they did start off as like a barbershop quartet. They were on television down under when they were very little.
Yeah, I mean Barry was older.
Yeah.
So it was like the Jackson 3.
Yeah.
He would have a guitar, and then the two twins would be there, and they'd be singing.
And now, when most people think Bee Gees, they think Saturday Night Fever, they think disco, but they had a whole career as Beatles Part 2, really.
Yeah, they were huge.
Right at the same time as the Beatles.
Yep.
And so much of their music, you'd be like, is that the Beatles? Or is that the Bee Gees? Like, to the point where they had Noel Gallagher on there talking about the genius of the Bee Gees, and that guy doesn't blow sunshine up
because he's a
butt,
Beatles nut.
Yeah, and for him to even say how genius the Bee Gees were, knowing that he's such a big, huge Beatles fan, I thought was very impressive.
Didn't they go from they were like born in Manchester, England, and then they went to Australia,
and then
they went back, and then.
I think Dad was a frustrated musician, so he had a huge hand in that.
Yeah.
Barry is the only one left.
Yeah.
And so the whole time, you're seeing interviews with all of them from all different years.
Yeah.
But when you see the current stuff from Barry, your heart just breaks every time you see him. He doesn't look bad. I'm sure he's no spring chicken, obviously. But the fact that his best friends in the world were his brothers.
Yeah, his whole family's gone except for him. Yeah,
everybody's gone. I mean, he has kids and nephews and nieces and all that, which is great. But your heart just breaks wide open. So there's a lot of interesting things that happen, and I don't want to obviously tell everybody everything. But there's even if you're just more from a producer or an engineer's perspective, they pretty much invented sampling. A drum machine.
Their producer actually did it for the first time, right?
Yeah, with on analog tape,
and
pulling it out.
It was jive talking, wasn't it?
I believe so.
And the reason it happened was because the drummer, I think the drummer's wife was having a baby or something, wasn't it?
No, I think his mother had Alzheimer's, and he had to
go and take care of her.
Yeah.
So they didn't have a drummer. So they had already recorded some stuff. And they ended up making this loop, and they showed it, a loop of tape that went across the room, where they had it on the end of a stick, and it went around the stick into the machine.
Yeah, it's really amazing to watch.
And it's the drum part, it's the beginning drum part of Jive Talking, I believe.
And the biggest takeaway, as Michael Mahoney will attest to as well in the comments, was that Otis Redding was supposed to sing To Love Somebody until he died.
Yeah.
And then they sang it. And that's the thing. They would always want to write for other people as well. Right. I didn't know that Islands in the Stream, they wrote that.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yep. Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, they wrote.
No idea.
They wrote that.
And the Jive Talkin' was not written during the Saturday Night Live era at all. That was written far earlier, before
Saturday
they
Night Fever.
Saturday
It was pre-Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
But is that when did they discover the falsetto?
So
because there was like a turning point.
Yeah, there's this huge turning point where they're locked up in a chateau to record.
Yeah.
And they were wrongly told this was the chateau that Elton John recorded like Crocodile Rock at and all that. And they show up and it's a totally run down piece of crap place. But they record some of the best stuff there. And whatever happened, they were recording a song and they needed to do some filler at the end. And suddenly Barry hits this ridiculously high note.
Yeah.
Go ahead, do it. And everybody in the studio was like, "What?" And not only was it a one-shot deal, he could do it all the time, and then he could drop 10 octaves to sing the other part. He was basically his own backup.
Yeah, yeah.
And that all of a sudden they decided to make a disco movie And
well, they were developed. They had the music already, right?
I think they had part of it.
They had their stuff. They had a bunch of songs.
Yeah.
And they actually developed a movie, like, around it.
Casey Riddles goes, I discovered a falsetto in gym class when I got kicked. Never mind. It's just so fascinating. And the whole Saturday Night Fever part. So
the bottom line is that they were too popular.
Yeah.
They put out another album when, like, Saturday Night Fever was still, like, 4 of their songs was still on the charts.
Yeah, they were
So they put out a song. So it was like they put out another album. People were sick of them.
Yeah, I mean, they did get oversaturated, and we'll talk about that in a second. But a funny thing happened when we were listening to You Should Be Dancing.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
You guys know that I mess up lyrics all the time,
and
right?
I usually pride myself on, like, getting it right.
So,
because I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
In the You Should Be Dancing song, there is a bar, if you will, that Barry sings, and I've never ever known what they were really saying. Ever. And Dave bursts out while we're watching the documentary, and he sings,
you know, what you doing in your bed?
And I was like, oh, is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
I've never known that. Oh my God. And so for 2 days, we were like, what you doing in your bed? And like so happy that I now know that lyric.
She's like,
and then,
what did you think it was?
I had no idea what it was. I really didn't. I would just be like,
so
then I'm on Facebook
so
the other
I'm there
day.
like, what you doing in your bed?
Right. So I'm on Facebook the other day.
Get
Hey,
lights on.
And Paul Natal from Murray Hill Talent, who I'm probably mispronouncing his last name. I'm sorry. I just, when I see you out, we don't talk last names. Posted on Facebook that he was wrong and that the real lyric is what you doing on your back. And I was like,
and
what?
I'm like, no way. I'm like, I think mine makes as much sense.
It does, but you're wrong.
We looked it up.
Yeah. Several times, actually.
And then
believe it.
When you listen to it being sung,
and
you see the words, you're like, yeah, I was like,
what you doing on your back?
I gotta give it to you.
You should be dancing. Yeah. Hey, Dan Kopko, we're about to talk about your band. I'm glad you
No. We don't want to embarrass you, Daniel. Daniel, we won't speak of it. We don't want to embarrass you.
Another great takeaway from the Bee Gees documentary is there is absolutely no mention whatsoever of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band movie.
Ooh.
And I imagine
totally on purpose.
They wouldn't agree to do the movie unless they didn't talk about that, because
I'd say so.
A big no-no. And they do talk a lot about Andy Gibb and how he, of course, he had a horrible drug problem.
But
and that
all of a sudden
he was made a member of the Bee Gees, and then he's dead like months later. It was terrible. Away.
But I mean, he had. Let's do it. Let's put it this way. They had like hits from Saturday Night Fever on. Then they had a follow-up album with like a hit or two on it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Then Andy puts out Shadow Dancing or whatever it is. And he has like 3 top 10 hits.
And he's on the cover between Andy and the rest of the brothers. They were on the cover of People magazine like every other week. And I know this because my mother was obsessed with that magazine and it was always in the house. I felt like I grew up with the Bee Gees in more ways than one. Angel, we're glad you're here.
They were actually on Dentistry Today a lot. They're on the cover of that too. Equine Dentistry.
So we really can't, first of all, messed up lyrics aside, what you doing on your back? We can't speak highly enough about the Bee Gees documentary. We're probably going to go watch it again. It's just so good.
Yeah, and it is really great.
It's going to make the sales go up again. Now, yes.
Hey, and they did a song about Massachusetts.
That was one of
There's only one, baby.
Hits. I have no idea how that song came to fruition, mind you, because I don't think any of them had ever been to Massachusetts.
Hey, listen,
but we
the lights all went out in Massachusetts.
Okay, so Dan Kopko has a story for us, and I'm trying to hit see more so I can read it all. See more. And it doesn't seem to be working. Little known fact, D. Anthony, who managed Frampton and was partly responsible for Sgt. Pepper, used to manage my old
Glam rock band?
Glam rock band. We can't hit the Seymour, so that's all I can
Sorry,
say. Sorry,
Dan.
I do know that cocaine is a hell of a drug, and I believe that entire movie was brought to you, sponsored by cocaine.
Yeah.
The tragedy of Andy definitely had, a small part of that was the Bee Gees' backlash and the death before disco movement.
Yeah.
And it really
disco
was
sucks.
a movement. When the guy was it Chicago or Detroit?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah.
When the DJ in Chicago, in between a double header,
it was at Comiskey Park.
They blow up a dumpster full of disco records.
Well, here's the thing. What they did was they did a promo. If you bring a disco record with you, you can get into Comiskey Park for 98 cents. Because that was 98 was the radio station.
Yeah, it was the Loop in Chicago.
So they got in. Everyone got in, and
everyone got drunk.
They had a day-night doubleheader. So they played the first game. Then everybody came down with the records, made a big pile of them, and they blew the records up like a big explosion.
The interesting thing that the documentary will tell you is that certain people were there, and certain people that were working at the park noticed that. People didn't just bring disco records. In fact, most of the records were R&B or anything that was a black artist. It was definitely
black.
It was racially motivated, and I think that white people didn't know that. I certainly didn't know that.
Not until then, really.
And the whole disco sucks movement, I didn't realize was that as well.
Yeah.
And it really, because disco was all-inclusive, especially for the LGBT community there.
Black, Latino, and LGBT.
I mean, disco started in the ballrooms. In the trans community and all of that. Yeah. So it was interesting to see that huge, because my first introduction to the disco sucks thing was Death Before Disco on a sweatshirt in the movie Stripes. And that was the first time I sort of connected with that, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" Because disco's lame, because it's flashy, and I want punk rock. I didn't realize it was a racist undertone thing, so I learned something.
You've got your radio experience, multiple decades in radio.
Oh,
yes?
Wow! Yes.
So, one thing that happened with this game. Okay, so they had the day game. They blew the records up between the games. And the crowd ran onto the field. And we mean like the whole stadium was on the field. It was like pandemonium. They were tearing the joint apart.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's seen at least some news footage from that.
To the point where they couldn't play the second game. And actually, the Chicago White Sox had to forfeit the game.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And meanwhile, the Bee Gees are on tour. They have no idea this is happening. And then suddenly they're not allowed to have a hit.
You know who I really miss?
Stations didn't want to play them.
Who do you miss? You know who likes disco, but won't admit it? Sam Avola.
Is Sam Avola here? Hi, Sam. Oh, Jerk Joe Burke is here, too, just in time. Speaking of jerks, let's go right to Jon Bon Jovi. Covering the Pogues.
Guys, before we leave.
Fairy Tale of New York.
Watch the Bee Gees documentary.
They're on it.
It's awesome.
We found out today that Jon Bon Jovi has covered Fairy Tale of New York. Right there, that sentence right there is wrong.
Now that's by the
sacrilege.
Pogues. The original is by the Pogues with Kirsty MacColl, right?
Yes, or Kirsty MacColl.
Kirsty, sorry.
So, I believe it's Kirsty. Did I get that wrong?
I thought it was Kirsty, but I could be wrong.
Did I say Kirsty and it's Christy? Now I'm being a jerk because she's no longer with us. And I can't believe out of those two, Shane McGowan still alive.
Speaking of teeth,
Kirsty MacColl not, and the most tragic death. I mean, and that's part of why you never touch that song.
Hi, Karen.
I mean, if you're the Dropkick Murphys, or if you're a band that is Pogues like, if you're U2, or if you're from Ireland, you're allowed to cover that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Jon Bon Jovi, first of all, does he have a female vocalist in the song with him? No.
I didn't listen to it though. I
won't listen to it.
No.
I refuse to listen to it. I did share it with everybody because I'm appalled that anybody let him do this.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's a terrible idea.
Jon Bon Jovi sounded like Montgomery Burns.
I love it. Hey,
Excellent
Karen.
Smithers.
And everybody in Ireland is like pretty. I mean, you know, Pogues fans are having none of this, obviously, but I think the entire country is up in arms. And you know, not a likable guy. I've heard too many stories. Don't like him. And everyone's like, oh well, you know, he's not a good musician, but he's a great guy. No.
Hey, he married his high school sweetheart.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just not a fan, and that's the final nail in the coffin for Jon Bon Jovi. People.
Yes, Jim Pericotti, yes.
We are all done
Celtic
there.
Woman could cover the Pogues.
So do yourself a favor and buy a digital copy of the original just to offset whatever money stupid Bon Jovi fans are going to make John for this ridiculous cover.
Oh gosh,
it's just terrible. It's sacrilege, and frankly.
But there's like a line of like people in the industry that are crapping on it. Am I wrong?
Oh God, yeah. No, but everybody's saying it's just the worst thing ever. We're not alone there. So let's move on to some happy local music news. Dan Kopko is here. The Shang Hi Los have a new record, if you will, coming out. It's technically not coming out. The full release is coming out January 15th, but you can pre-order now and get 2 songs. The digital album is called Kick It Like a Wicked Bad Habit, which is the lyrics in one of the 2 singles that you're to get, and it's such a catchy tune.
Is that like Shake It Like a Polaroid picture?
I don't know, maybe a little. It was the song that we premiered the video on the Once fundraiser.
Swing Little Player?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Sway Little Player?
Yeah.
Dan, help me out.
Dan, what's the name of that first single that we helped premiere? Sean O'Brien, yeah, Jon Bon Jovi, Won't Listen, Can't Listen. I don't disagree. Holly Cantor, I need me some Shang Hi Los.
Hi, Linder.
The 2 songs that are released now are fantastic, and I was blaring them yesterday morning. It's just so good. So it's on Bandcamp. I will post the links tomorrow. Oh, it's Sway Little Sister.
No, Sway Little Player.
Sway Little Player.
Right?
Yes, that's it. Sorry.
I was right!
So we're very excited.
I got something right tonight.
Definitely check it out and pre-order if you can. It's like $5. It's nothing. And they are on Rumbar Records. So Rumbar Records, coincidentally, is hosting a virtual holiday mess around, or the holiday virtual mess around, as it were, this Sunday at 6 o'clock, which we can all jump on and experience virtually. So I'm very excited about that. A lot of our favorite people, I believe Andrea Gillis is on there as well. So that's at 6. At 4:45 on Sunday, not to be outdone, Bill Janovitz bringing back the happy hour. Isn't
he Scott's brother?
Little inside joke there. All the Janovi are wonderful human beings, but I would say that Bill is probably the most well-known. So that's extra funny. Bill Janovitz, we all love him. It's the Family Holiday Happy Hour, so that's at 4:45. Dan says that the Rumbar Records is Sunday the 20th.
Thank you, Dan.
Which, Dan, is this weekend. And I can't believe that it is this weekend.
Yeah, it's already this weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy that time has just flown.
It's already almost my birthday.
His birthday is the 27th, and he's turning the big 50. And I'm just,
which is strange because I act so childish.
I'm just so bummed that we can't throw this big party for you, and I've got to figure
out.
Yeah,
I'm so bummed too.
I got to figure out some kind of like virtual something where everybody can wish you a happy birthday. And I'm slacking as a girlfriend on that, so I got to figure that out. So we've got the Shang Hi Los early release for 2 songs when you pre-order the record that'll be out January 15th. Rumbar Records holiday virtual mess around this Sunday at 6. And then Bill Janovitz Family Holiday Happy Hour at 4:45, which is always wonderful. All of those things happening, we will post all the links for you as well. And we really only have one thing to talk about with food this weekend. We finally did it. I've been talking about this for over a year. We went to Aldi.
Oh, well. Now the cat's out of the bag.
I've been wanting to go to Aldi forever. So it's basically like
it's important to have aspirations.
It's like a cross between the cheapest grocery store you've ever been to, Trader Joe's, and what's the other one we love that's also in Medford?
Oh,
Wegmans. I mean, it's not like Wegmans. It's very small and low budget. It's so low budget, and this is where they, keep the savings for you. When you go to get your shopping cart, aka your carriage, if you're from New England,
right?
You got to put a quarter.
If you don't have a quarter, you're out of luck, kid. Because they actually have a chain system where it's almost like a seatbelt buckle. You stick the quarter in, and it releases the one shopping cart. And what they
we laughed I'm like, so hard.
We were just laughing, right?
We had no idea.
But then
but you get it back.
I was like, wait, it stays in the thing. It doesn't go anywhere. So that when you put the shopping cart back, put the shopping cart back, you get your quarter back.
And it's so funny. After our trip, we were so elated because Dave was suspicious AF. He was not having it. He thought for sure that I was leading him down the primrose path, and that it was not going to be good.
At first I got nervous because, okay, produce is good. Yeah, okay, produce. Yeah, anybody can have, listen, Chelsea's nearby. You can get produce, okay? But then I started looking at the name brands on the food, and it was like
they're not name brands.
It looked like the graphics of a company, but it was like compared to the quality
Dave
of Nabisco.
Dave is a name brand hoe.
Well, no, I don't mind generic.
We'll be at Savers, and he will scream from across the entire store like, it's Ralph Lauren or whatever, and you know what I mean. Like you love a brand name. You just do. You do, and that's fine.
Listen,
I don't care if it looks good and it tastes good and it's cheap. I'm all about it, and that was Aldi, and it was great.
So let's back up a little bit.
Everything and almost everything.
We weren't like loaded for bear as far as money goes. Okay, we were a little strapped for cash, but we still made it count.
We are always strapped for cash.
I mean, even
always.
Even the they had my cold brew, the exact cold brew that I like, Stoke, and it was for cheaper than it was actually cheaper at Aldi than it was at like Market Basket.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Whoa!
It's not a humongous supermarket, but man, if you can, drive to Medford, it's worth the drive.
And then they had little things, and one thing I wish we got, because I'm in the holiday spirit now.
Oh, are you?
And one thing that happens. You know what happens when I get in the holiday spirit? I like to have a little nog. I like to have a little eggnog. Okay?
I hate eggnog.
Without the alcohol. Okay? I don't need that to be cheerful and merry and bright because...
But what did they have? Did they have
they had
flavored something?
Almond nog.
Oh, like almond milk.
Oh, no, was it oat nog? Anyway, it was
sounds terrible.
It was a replacement. And I was like, I want to get it. But we only have so much money.
It was basically date night. Date night now is driving someplace
Guys,
to get something. So now it's Aldi. That's
anybody who's out there who shops at Trader Joe's knows a lot of Trader Joe's prepared foods, like frozen stuff and everything, is really, really good.
Yeah.
They search out the good stuff and then they put their name on it.
Make deals and put their name on it. Yeah.
And Aldi kind of had that same vibe to some of their stuff.
Yeah. And so we bought a tri-tip, and I've never made a tri-tip in my life.
Steak tips, guys.
It's not steak tips.
It's a big hunk of meat.
It is.
Steak tips are made out of.
But in New England, tri-tip is not a big thing because we have steak tips, and it's different, and it's the end of the tenderloin. So I looked it up, and all I really had to do was sear it in a pan and throw it in the oven, and so we did, and everybody raved, and everybody was super happy. Medford Kid, Aldi. I would like one closer up here.
But
that would be really nice.
Okay. In the same place, there's a Wingstop. There is a Harbor Freight Tools.
Oh, yeah. There's a line out the door at Harbor Freight Tools.
And there is an Ocean State Job Lot.
Yeah.
All in the same area.
It was basically like, you know...
And there's the donkeys in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So you can drive through the donkeys and then go on a little safari.
Basically, it was the cheapskate, we're on a low budget, like...
What did she say?
Shopping bonanza.
Yeah.
Now, we did not talk about The Mandalorian this week, and I think that's just because we did a huge spoiler alert last week, so we
don't want to ruin it for everybody.
And this Friday is the season finale, so we're just going to hold off on some Mando talk.
Okay, all I'm going to say about the last Mandalorian episode that we just watched.
All right, but don't do any big spoilers, because some people aren't...
I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay.
Okay, but there's a scene in the show where there's an Easter egg for a very funny movie from the 90s.
Yes.
Come in 2 weeks after the new year, we'll be back, right?
Yes.
And I want to know. I want to know from you people.
Oh,
if you watched The Mandalorian and you caught the Easter egg.
Do you want to tell them who says the line?
One of the guest stars says it.
Yes. And a local guest star.
Yeah.
Somebody that's originally from this area.
Actually did a nice job acting in that.
Yeah,
in that
I think he's going to be brought back as a regular, honestly.
I hope so.
So one other thing I wanted to talk about. So I completely forgot that somebody had given us this, it's like a Yankee candle holder, but it's got a heater.
It's a warmer.
It's a warmer, so you just put those little hockey puck,
the wax hockey pucks,
candle on there.
Scented wax.
I don't know if you can actually see it or not.
I don't think there it is.
There it is, right?
It's a bubbling cauldron of wax.
All right, so we have that, and I decided to call my girl from Oswald and Ari Soy Candles and
Casey.
ask. I'm like, Casey, you don't happen to make the candle little pieces for the warmer? She's like, oh, hell yeah, I do. And we picked up Saturday Morning Cartoon, which is our favorite, which basically makes the whole house smell like Fruit Loops and love.
When you open a box of Fruit Loops and the smell hits you, it's that perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. So look at the packaging on this. So it's cider donuts. I know that it's going to be backwards to you. But they're just these little individual squares, and you just pop one off and put it in. And for days, our house smells like a Cinnabon right now, which is not easy when you're trying to lose weight, just FYI. But I wanted to give Oswald and Ari on Etsy a little shout out because our house smells amazing.
But to be fair, okay, not everything is sunshine and roses, okay? Guys, I would say that you should really put a disclaimer on your product because it's not to be eaten. The burns that I sustained on my lips, they're healing, but that's why I have the mustache. Listen, because I had a burn from trying to eat the Saturday Morning Cartoon wax.
Who doesn't want your house to smell like Fruit Loops and love? I mean, it's just fantastic. Never mind the cider donuts, and it really just it smells like we work at a Cinnabon.
You know what they say?
What?
Cider donuts make me go nuts.
Is that what they say?
I always say it.
Oh my goodness. So sorry we didn't do any Mando talk this week, but honestly I felt like it was overkill last week. And really we had almost the whole show was going to be the Bee Gees this week until Jon Bon Jovi went in and, committed, the worst offense to music in the last,
hopefully it's like,
years.
career seppuku.
That would be nice. I would like to never hear from him again. That's how deep my hatred for Jon Bon Jovi goes.
How deep is your hate?
It's pretty
your
big.
Hate?
It's pretty
how
deep.
How deep is your hate?
So we will...
I really need to learn.
Cause we're...
living in a world of fools. Breaking us down. When they all should let us be.
We can't help ourselves.
Yeah,
we're just so BG obsessed right now. So we'll see everybody this weekend at the Bill Janovitz Family Holiday Happy Hour and the Rumbar Records Holiday Virtual Mess Around. Both happening on Facebook, 4:45 and 6 p.m. We will post all the links of everything we recommend, including all the music, sometime tomorrow because it's hard for me to do it all at night, and then in the morning I have work. And
Lord knows she does everything.
And the snow is coming, everybody. The snow!
Oh, Lord!
So we are taking the next 2 weeks off. We'll probably pop on just to say hi right before Christmas and right before New Year's because we can't help ourselves, frankly. But we need a little bit of a break. I will say this, that the tip jar is really to help underwrite the show, to help us with, paying for all the channels that we have to watch all these movies.
It's research.
And, going to Aldi isn't, but so if you
taquitos don't pay for themselves, people.
Help with the underwriting costs, the tip jar is right there, and
it helps us bring you the shows that you've come to enjoy.
And we're always happy to share our favorite local music. So if you want us to listen to something, you can send it to. We have a Gmail now.
What?
And we have a new Facebook page. So the Gmail address is theworsttalkshowlive@gmail.com. So please, or you can just drop us a line on the new Facebook page, and yes, I'll be inviting all of you to like it very soon. So lots of big, awesome changes in January. We're going to start broadcasting in a way that will allow us to have pre-produced segments like cooking segments, Sam Avola, cooking segments,
Sean O'Brien,
and maybe Louis Warren as well. Also, we're going to have a lot of live guests on, and that includes our musician friends doing little numbers. So thank you guys so much. We love you. We've actually gone a minute over.
No way!
The amount of time
we are in bonus time! You guys owe us twice.
Blame it on the Bee Gees. We love you guys. Happy holidays. We'll see you in 2021.
Living on the nuts on Broadway.
What's the other line, honey?
What
you doing on your back?